Moving on. 1440. Good morning. It's Monday, June 8th, and someone is $1 million richer after finding Forrest Fenn's treasure. Don't know who that is. Need to know. A weekend of protests. Waves of protesters took to the streets across the U.S. over the weekend, joining the largest demonstrations against police brutality since the death of George Floyd sparked outrage 2 weeks ago. With marches held in cities both large and small, estimates of turnout weren't readily available, though the number likely stretched into the hundreds of thousands. Despite the crowds, the events appeared overwhelmingly peaceful. Demonstrations were also held in major cities around the world, including Paris, London, Berlin, Sydney, and elsewhere. If they really are tamping down the rioters and the looters to make their demonstrations peaceful, then that's great. I am just not sure that I believe that. It seems more likely that people are just not going to be reporting on it because it makes everybody look bad. In Washington, D.C., tens of thousands protested in front of the White House. No major incidents between police and protesters were reported. Separately, a feud between D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and President Trump escalated, with Trump calling Bowser incompetent and Bowser renaming the area just north of the White House Black Lives Matter Plaza. A street mural with the phrase can be seen via satellite. That is so obnoxious. Yes, you know why it's just the whole mural thing. The whole art thing. You're being like dogs, running around, peeing on everything. That's what I see. I mean, a dog thinks that it's doing a good thing. A dog thinks that it's making art. Most likely. A dog is, a dog is fully behind what it's doing when it's going around peeing on shit. Or a cat. Cats do it too. You are putting your art everywhere. I'm just saying. In Seattle, police used flashbang devices and pepper spray after some sort of improvised explosive device was reportedly thrown from a small group of protesters. Well, that doesn't sound peaceful. In Buffalo, New York, 2 officers shown on video pushing an elderly protester who interrupted a police line, causing the man to sustain a severe head injury, were charged with second-degree assault and suspended without pay. But they are pleading not guilty, which they should be doing because old fucker didn't have to be advancing on them. If you're a feeble old man, don't advance on a police line. I think a little push was the very least that they could do. In Minneapolis, Mayor Jacob Frey was heckled by protesters after refusing to commit to abolishing the city's police department. Members from the city council, however, joined activists and committed to ending the police department, though it's unclear what that may look like. Defunding police departments has become a rallying cry. Here's a look at what the proposal may actually mean. Genius. Very smart. Finally, hundreds attended a memorial service yesterday for Floyd outside Fayetteville, North Carolina, where Floyd was born. A public service will be held in Houston today, where Floyd was raised and had family, followed by a private service Tuesday. See photos of the weekend's marches. Surprise jobs report. The U.S. economy added nearly 2.5 million jobs in May, according to a surprising Friday report that reflects workers returning to jobs as states begin to lift stay-at-home restrictions. Excellent. The report pegged current unemployment at 13.3%, down from 14.7% in April, a shocking figure given many analysts expected near 20%. Oh, okay. It's still an awful number, though. A note appended to the report, read here, note at bottom, indicated a misclassification where furloughed workers were counted as employed, made the figure 3% lower. It should have been near 16.3%. Yeah, but if you're on furlough, that means that you are going to be going back to work. Still, the numbers represent the biggest Wall Street projection whiff on jobs reports ever and provide hope that the economy may recover quicker than previously thought. Stocks rose swiftly on the morning news. The Dow jumped 829 points, 3.1%. Holy shit. Followed by the S&P 500, 2.6%, and the NASDAQ, 2.0%. Come on, NASDAQ, keep up. The NASDAQ became the first of the three major indices to return to an all-time high after cratering in mid-March due to the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, the number of reported coronavirus cases in the U.S. rose to 1.94 million, with 110,514 deaths as of this morning. Dubious. That's a dubious number. As long as hospitals get incentive for putting coronavirus down on the death certificate, as long as people are counting the ones who die while having coronavirus, but they actually died because of some other comorbidity that they had, as long as that's being counted as a coronavirus death, then those numbers are extremely dubious. Deaths rose 2.1% since Friday morning. See the moving 3-day average here. Cristobal arrives in the U.S. Tropical storm Cristobal made landfall along the U.S. Gulf Coast yesterday, bringing sustained 50-mile-per-hour winds, 3 to 6 inches of rain per hour, and up to 6 feet of storm surge. The system battered Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula last week before turning northward, picking up steam as it moved over the Gulf of Mexico. It is the third named storm, meaning sustained surface winds of at least 39 miles per hour of what is expected to be an active Atlantic hurricane season. It's also the second earliest to hit Louisiana since record-keeping began in 1851, beating out storms that landed June 13th in both 1912 and 1956. The system is expected to pass over Baton Rouge and into Arkansas, eventually bringing rain all the way to Chicago by the end of the week. See photos as the storm made landfall. Get smarter in e-commerce. Within. Oh, it says it right there. Within is helping brands track e-commerce revenue, ad spend, CVR, and more during these uncertain times. Learn how your business compares to the benchmark and get insights about what brands are doing to adapt and recover lost revenue. From industry breakdowns to omni-channel comparisons, Within's Retail Pulse dashboard will keep you in the know. They also track what's happening in media channels from CPMs by ad placement to spend on prospecting versus retargeting. I have no idea what I just read. Within's daily insights and takeaways will help your brand beat the benchmark when you need it most. Unlock the Retail Pulse dashboard now to recover lost revenue and grow. Please support our sponsors. In the know, sports, entertainment, and culture. New York Times editorial page director James Bennett resigns over criticism of decision to publish op-ed by Senator Tom Cotton, calling for federal troops to quell protests. See? And I honestly had congratulated the New York Times for publishing something written by a Republican, and here we go with the consequences. They just are not allowed to even attempt a modicum of objectivity. It's so sad. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling faces widespread backlash for transphobic tweets. Again? Jeez. The woman just needs to get off Twitter. She's obviously not pleasing anybody. And that seems to be what she wants, and she's not accomplishing it, so just give it up, bitch. Conor McGregor, mixed martial artist and UFC star, announces his retirement from fighting. McGregor has said he would retire twice previously. So, third time's the charm? NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell admits the league was wrong in how it handled player protests, says Black Lives Matter in video statement. Just capitulation. Just bootlicking. Ground kissing. Ugh. Let's see, how did the league handle? How were they wrong? I don't remember any handling anyway. I mean, the players that wanted to do it did it. Maybe a few teams, tried to discourage their players from doing it, but that's the individual teams, which they should have the right to do. They should have the right to establish the rules for their own team, for their own players. What exactly is the NFL supposed to do? You really want to endorse blatant unprofessionalism? Because that is what it is. They're supposed to be on the field doing their job. It doesn't matter if the game hasn't started yet. They are being paid to be there. You're going to pay them for voicing, not literally voicing, but you're going to pay them for demonstrating whatever their cause is. That you realize that opens a whole can of worms. Anybody else who wants to demonstrate for some other cause, if you're endorsing one cause, you have to endorse all causes. At least that should be that's how it should be. We've already got the players showing us what's important to them on their fucking sneakers, because all the players wear these, maybe not all the players, but so many players wear shoes that make some sort of statement on what's important to them. And that's been allowed. Ugh. It's not professional. I don't think the shoes are professional either. I'm just saying. I think that the shoes should be uniform. But maybe that's just me. Michael Jordan, the Nike-owned Jordan brand, donate $100 million to organizations dedicated to racial equality and social justice. All this money that is being donated, does anybody know exactly where it's going to end up? That's a lot of money. Millions. At this point, billions, or maybe even trillions? Because there's been a lot of people donating millions of dollars. Probably not trillions yet, but okay, billions. Many, many hundreds of millions has been being donated to such supposed organizations. What is it going to be used on? This situation is just rife for people to come in and get rich without actually doing much. This is not smart. Moderation. Science and technology. Competing bacteria will commit mass suicide, releasing large quantities of toxins that kill other strains to protect colonies. Nice. Very tactical. Great white sharks spend more time foraging for food along the seabed than previously thought, according to first detailed study of sharks' diets off the Australian coast. New study links deadly effects of sleep deprivation with changes to the gut microbiome in flies. Antioxidants found to address the buildup of cell-damaging molecules in small intestines. So, if you want to get rid of your flies, you should keep them awake for too long. Haha. Business and markets. Alexis Ohanian, Reddit co-founder and husband of tennis star Serena Williams, resigns from Reddit board, urges board members to replace him with a black director. See, that's I didn't realize that he was Serena Williams' husband. How much of that was her decision? How much of that was her urging? I can't imagine that she's not a nag. I can't imagine that she's not a harpy. She seems like she'd be a real harpy. In my opinion, JCPenney shares surged 55% after sources say private equity firm in discussions to potentially purchase company out of bankruptcy, assuming creditor negotiations fail. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and OPEC and allies agree to continue oil production cut another month amid continued decreased demand. Good. Tesla Model 3 becomes best-selling car in state of California in Q1. Marks the first time an electric car has topped the state's charts. That's surprising. That last part. Politics and world affairs. Active duty Air Force sergeant suspected, since it's California, I'm saying it's surprising for California. Anyway, active duty Air Force sergeant suspected in California police ambush that left one officer dead and 2 injured. Suspect was taken into custody, no motive given as of this morning. Joe Biden formally clinches the Democratic presidential nomination. Results from June 2nd primaries were delayed due to high volume of mail-in ballots. Colin Powell, Secretary of State under President George W. Bush, endorses Biden. That's weird. Well, maybe it's not. I don't know anything about Colin Powell. Whatever. New York City, once the epicenter of the U.S. coronavirus outbreak, begins reopening. Up to 400,000 set to return to work today. Brazil, with the second leading number of cases worldwide, stops reporting total coronavirus figures. The only real-time e-commerce dashboard. Within is offering the tools brands need to recover lost revenue, including daily e-commerce stats, including revenue, media spend, and conversion rate by industry to see how your business stacks up. Stats on CPM trends for Facebook and Instagram, including spend by audience and apparel revenue by category. Tips and tricks from benchmark-beating brands to help you adapt in these volatile times. Start beating the benchmark now and unlock Within's Retail Pulse dashboard today. Please support our sponsors, etc. Check out aerial views of the weekend's protests. No, thank you. The Marine Corps bans public displays of the Confederate flag. The safest countries in the world for COVID-19. From our partners. Is your company working remotely? This product empowers businesses to work productively from anywhere with Apple devices. Create your free account here. Apple. Ugh. Read a previously unpublished story from Ernest Hemingway. Neato. From New Yorker. Watch the Washington Monument get struck by lightning. Among discarded wipes and masks, the Fatberg returns. That's not surprising. The 10 most loved sandwiches in America. Banksy reveals tribute to George Floyd. He would. Clickbait. Art dealer Forrest. I'm going to say this again. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It is similar to what Candace Owens has said. The man should not have died. The man should not have had a guy's knee on his neck for over 8 minutes. Okay, that's terrible. It should not have happened. It's gross for a cop to do something like that. That's awful. The cop is being charged. The cop is most likely going to be punished. Probably. Although, perhaps the charge that they went with is not... Okay. Shh. Quiet. Perhaps the charge is not going to turn out very well because it might be a bit of an overcharge. Because I really don't think that he intended to kill the guy. I think that he just did not... He was neglectful and irresponsible and stupid and an asshole and didn't even consider that what he was doing could be wrong. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think that it was intentional. But back to what I was saying. It sucks that it happened. It should not have happened. It's awful. It's awful that it happened. But George Floyd himself was a criminal. He would not have been in the situation that he was in, the horrible bad situation that should not have happened anyway. He would not have been in that situation if it were not for his own actions. It shouldn't have happened. But the man could have prevented it himself by making better choices. We don't have to continue honoring and memorializing criminals, actual criminals, just to make a statement against police brutality, against bad things happening, to make your statement and to fight for the change that might be necessary. To do that, you don't have to continue honoring and memorializing criminals. Like I've been saying, moderation. Have some moderation. Have some sense. That's all. Clickbait. Art dealer Forrest Fenn's buried treasure finally found. History book. Muhammad, founder of Islam, dies in Medina, Saudi Arabia, 632. Architect Frank Lloyd Wright, born 1867. Former First Lady Barbara Bush, born 1925. James Earl Ray, arrested in London for the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., 1968. Happy birthday, Kanye West, 1977. The longer I live, the more beautiful life becomes. Frank Lloyd Wright. The longer I live, the more shitty life appears. Not my own life, just, life as a whole. The society, the life of society. Enjoy reading, forward this email to a friend. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you, 1440. That is all.